So, recording? It's recording. Okay, so if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Well, good evening to everyone.
Hang on, one more.
It's
You can sit up a little piece at the change position. That's cool. Yes.
yes, I've been greetings to everyone. I am my name is Maria Cecilia Francis Hall. I was born here in the island of San Andrés, right here in San Luis, where we are. It's the Gulf. My parents were my grandparents were Elizabeth Morgan Brown. She was a Jamaican, and my grandfather was Charles Charles Hall. So he was an East Indian from Jamaica. They came here to the island, and then they had 11 children, and one of those 11 children was my mother. They sent, some of them went back to Jamaica to study, and then they were here, and my mother. And then my father was Philip Abel Francis Gregg. He was from Trinidad, and he spent some time in the United States, and there he studied medicine in Meharry Medical College. He studied medicine, and he was there for a while. Then on his way back to Trinidad, he naturally in those days it was by ship, no planes were. That is the way the first part of the 19th so and so. So on his way back to Trinidad, on the docks, he met some people who were from the island of San Andres. Among those people was Mr. Joab Escalona. He was an Adventist fellow. They used to have a medical doctor here in the island. It seemed as if the church had him here, but he had left. So they were without any medical service at the moment. So Mr. Joab said, well, why not come to San Andres and help us out, be there. So he was going back home with plans to stay a little while, like 2 years, and then go back up to Canada because he was interested in specializing in obstetrics. So he said, well, let's see, I'll go there and then do it, my two practices there, and then I'll go up to Canada. So that's what he did. He came, and the plan was for 2 years. And those 2 years turned out to be 54 years. Is where he spent all his life. And he fell in love with the people. He found people who were like himself here. And, his service was very good, medical service. And he kept in touch with his medical training also. He had used to bring in his magazines to keep uh, uh, up to date and everything like that. And the people trusted him, and he worked faithfully. He didn't go back to Trinidad because he was too dedicated to his work. Such a person is about to have her baby. I can't leave her. I have to wait. And that's how he went through 50 years. And then he had us. We were four, and we were five because my mother took care of a sister, Miss Birdie name. Her mother died, so she took her over, and they were trained in those days. Back in the 20s, the they they brought in the Capuchin priests to take over the Catholic because we had the English priests, the Mill Hill Fathers from England. They worked here, and then the Capuchins took over. So they had um, internship. The girls could go there and stay there, internas we called it. And they trained people. So they trained the basic training was for teachers, and there's some very good teachers came out from there. You had Miss Birdie, the one, and then we had Miss we call her Miss Chichi Eugenia Davis. That's the mother of Miss Delia, very good teacher. We had Miss Ines McNish. We had Rita Newval, several, and Miss Birdie worked at the rancho there for years, and everybody liked her, and she took care of many people. Well, that's how we went on. Well, I studied there with the sisters to my first studies. But afterward, I went to Barranquilla, where I studied commerce. At first, I wanted to be a nurse, but I didn't fit in there. I went to Barranquilla, and there's where I studied in the Liceo Barranquilla, and I did good because I had the municipality here gave out two becas, scholarships for accountants, and I took one, and I came out good. So I could work in the offices around here. I worked in Telecom, I worked in the Gobernación, and things like that. So I studied over there, commerce, and came back. So I worked here for a while in the there was a in the Morgan. When the Morgan Hotel was in swing, I worked there for a while, and then by that time they they brought in the brothers, the Christian brothers of La Salle, and they took charge of the school. The school already existed in we call that place the Slave Hill, but the name of the school was the Bolivariano. And so Bolivariano was in charge, those were in charge of the very good professor they had there, the Professor Alberto Munevar. He taught boys, he even made an orchestra with the boys, taught them different instruments, and then he had along with him, you and Mr. Bill Newball, William Newball, and the good musician. They took care and they taught, along with the training they gave them, they taught them music and things like that. So while I was there in Morgan, the head of the director of that school came to ask me to go work with them. I was kind of reluctant, but anyway, I passed up the government paid. So I went, and it was a pleasure for me to work with them. All these fellows, his uncles, his cousins, all they were up there, little boys. And I worked there for 14 years with the Christian brothers up there. All the doctors are around, Dr. Samuel, Dr. Ellis, all those were little boys. While out there, and I saw them grow up, they graduated right there. They did a good work. They stayed there for 18 years, and then they left the island. And meanwhile, the missionaries of the Baptist school kept bringing in, the Baptist church, bringing in missionaries, and they found a treasure with the people. They were all so, all artists, musicians especially. And the programs that they besides teaching you to read and write, the program was music. You had to learn music because they found that the people were very good at that. One of the missionaries who came in, and I get to know the family. It was Charles McCullough. Mrs. McCullough she was amazed to find all those voices that she was used to manage. She didn't have any trouble with them, and they all were so good, we trained them. Yes, we had, I remember some of them, and Mr. Ulysses O'Neill, Mr. Walwyn Peterson, and all those voices, we trained them and to play instruments. Another thing, the people from the island were, many of us descend from Jamaica, Trinidad, and up there, the islands up there, we had them, we had from Nassau, different places, and all the all the names were the same. When people come in, they could find the same names. You know, you find Whittingham, you find Forbes, you got Francis Mitchell. They could find all the names that they knew before, Simpson, and and things like that. So anyway, that's how we went on. I stayed here, and I fell into music. I like music. My parents were both musicians. My father, he played the piano, the violin, and my mother always, I saw she played the violin, the piano. In those days, the organ, the instrument used to import because communication was mostly with the United States. We were not so connected with Colombia yet. Our connection with Colombia, let's say, started in 1912, 19. So, but we used to have lots of communication with the United States because of the coconut the commerce. The islands produce a lot of coconut, the whole island, and everyone had their coconut, the oranges. They would send the oranges over to Cologne to sell, and thousands of oranges would go. Also, the coconut trade, they used to make a interchange with the United States, go up to New Orleans and places like that. And every more or less 3 months, they said the boat would come down and bring merchandise, cloth, everything like that. And then these people sent coconuts to trade with them, and that's how we were. That's how we used to do. The islands, for instance, you may wonder, well, where are we now? We are we are down in San Luis, the Gulf. We call it the Gulf. Yeah, English pronounce it the Gulf. The geographical accident, as we call that. So we are right here now where we are. We are in the Gulf, San Luis, the Gulf. So I was born here. I never, yeah. I've been out, of course, doing my little things. I've been dedicated to music. I love music, and we were lucky enough to have a piano in the home. There was a business place here nearby, right over across the bridge there, that was Rubenstein. He was a Jewish fellow who came around, and he was Austrian, and he came around during the beginning of the war, and he came and he worked up himself and the coconut trade and everything like that, and he made himself a big business. So he used to import things and so. And beside Mr. Rubenstein, we had Mr. Arthur May, who did the same thing. And down here in San Luis, we had Mr. Jeremiah Linton, he's been from Jamaica also. So anyway, through that company, we got a piano in the home, and they taught me. I had to learn we all learned to play the piano, but I was the one that was more dedicated, and sometimes I go down to play with my friends, and they would remind me, go practice your piano lesson. So it helped a lot. We used to use the small wood and some other method that came from the States. So we had to learn some of the classics also, and that's how people learn. You have most of the homes. I remember when I came to know myself and go around, you find organs in the homes, and some of them are already out of order because the war came around and people couldn't. It was hard to get communication to change the instrument or buy a new instrument. But everyone in the island had to learn music. When you go to school, music was there. You had to learn music. And some of them became music teachers. Some of the same ones who, yeah, I do remember going to the cove one day with someone, and I saw an organ it was just a decoration then because there was no way of getting it. But it goes to show that the people were our musicians.
Can I ask, what was the kind of the popular style of music from the island? And the island was, you said everybody here was encouraged to play music. What was the favorite style of music here on the island?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, we were in touch with music because many people from the West Indies came over. My father, I wasn't around yet, and when he came here as a young person, I hear them talk about Mr. M. Mr. Francis, another Francis from Trinidad, and Mr. Leflit, Mr. Tony. When I came to know Tony because he remained, I came to know Mr. Joe Bab. He used to play. So those people used to play the music from the islands over there, from Jamaica. We learned all those old time music. We heard them, and then we had the gramophones. You can through Cologne, they had the Cologne import, so you could bring in music and things like that. So the music were And for instance, Nora, and, and, a lot different different music. I can't remember right now the names of some of them. Woman Sweeter Than Man. All those were Trinidad music and others that they brought in.
Soca, this kind of
Yeah, no, the soca and the reggae came in to San Andrés in the 70s. In the 70s. This side we used to learn music from the English. We had hillbilly music in here. We had all those came in here, and people used to learn cowboy songs, you know. People used to serenade, those who used to play the guitar and sing. We had several people who did that, and then it was a custom for the people to go serenading, especially on moonlight night. We didn't have street lights and things like that, so the moonlight used to help us out a lot. So they go and they sing all those songs um, that we hear on the gramophone, and people who come in and sing them. All those songs we used to sing and play. We used to sing, for instance, I can't even remember now. It's the story about some Jamaican who went to England and was he was having it good. He said he's in starvation and want to go back home because, and all those were a nice six songs that they brought in, and they used to sing them. They used to sing them. And according to what I see there, my father, they used to get together, and we found a note after he was dead years where they were calling him to come tonight, and we want you to sing The Cat Came Back. I never heard him sing it or anything like that, but it must have been something that they liked to hear. Yeah. So all those songs came in before, long before, from way down in the. So they used to play Mr. Joe Bob. He used to play the guitar, and the others played the guitar also. Rallington Francis, that was the name of that one. And Mr. Tony used to play the clarinet. And they used to get together. And I'm sure more before them. This is what I remember when my father in the 1912, 1930, all those songs that they used to bring in. And then after we got in touch with Colon, lots of West Indians used to come up to Colon to work because of the canal zone, because of the canal that they were building. And lots of people went from here and got jobs over there because they spoke English. And there's where so many of the songs came over here through them. The English is very important here in the island, people. We learn to speak English. I have some of all the books here, the royal readers and all those days where we learn English from. You have to learn from ABC right up to the sixth book. You have to learn to spell and read. And if you do not know the meanings, those books have some place where you have new words in each. You have to learn them and know the spelling. If you did not know your spelling, you were punished until you learn it. Yeah, and you read it. And that's how many people would learn to read, and they got jobs over there because of the English they spoke. Yeah. Of course, we have to speak our local pronunciation, and it's English, but we say it in our way, But they have to speak English. Sometimes when we are on the road and you said something in the local way, whoever is passing by say, that's not so. And they let you know to say it the right way. Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah.
So can I ask you? I hear, we blessed to sit here in this house today in the presence of such royalty that you compose and the anthem for San Andres.
Ah,
Can you
yes,
tell us a little about that?
they turned it into the anthem. I was in all my going around. I used to, when I play music, I in the Casa de la Cultura, we call it. I organized the choir, and I learned to play the accordion by myself, and You see, when you learn the piano, at least you can learn it helps. So I then the people from the Casa La Cultura, the heads, came to ask me. They received an invitation from Colombia, from Medellin, to take part in a contest, folkloric contest, because they noticed that the folkloric part of their culture was going down. So they decided to make something and call all the regions to get together. So they sent an invitation. So there was no organized group like that yet. So they came to me. So we got up a group of dancers and everything. And there was a group of musicians that already existed. That was the Bahia Sonora group. Bahia Sonora. It was headed by Mr. Eusebio Martinez. They call him, he's known as Mr. Sidious. Mr. Sidious. So that's the person that was here. So after we got them, by then now, the Australian man, the priest is still there now, Father Jose Archibald, he had the the club, the youth club, and we had them all trained, and even in the dancing. They had Mr. Gerald Alciano Stevens. Mr. Gerald was belonging to the older group of people who danced. The priest, which was before Father, it was Father Jose, which was Father Taylor, they used to use the old people to dance in the 7th of August celebration. The 7th of August is a Colombian celebration that we used to do here. So they used to do it in the local way, have dances and music, races and things like that. It was a happy day. And they had these older people who used to dance. Mr. Jero was in that group and he was a kind of a director. So we got him, the Father Jose had him to train the young people also in these dances, and that was very good. So we used some of them. We used 44 best ones that were there, and Mr. Jero was the director. And for a backup of the music, backup, I said, well, the one who really knows all the old music is Mr. Sigus. So we got Bahia Sonora to do. You see, they had to play chatis. We wanted to revive all those dances among the young people. The chatis, the mazurka, waltz. Well, the waltz was very popular among, yeah. And then the quadrille. The quadrille is one with 4 parts. We added a 5th part in it. So Mr. Jero was the master in that. So that's why we use him. So after we were preparing now for this contest, so I said, no, we should have a theme song. So I said, well, I'm going to do something like that we have a theme song, that each presentation they would come up with that to end. So I did it. I said, well, I'm going to do it in Calypso time. And that's what I did. It's a kind of a description of the island and the people, and using the Calypso beat. And that's what I did. And they learned it. Well, we went over, we did our presentations over there, and when we came back, but I didn't expect that people would fall in love with beautiful San Andrés. We name it Beautiful San Andrés because I said, well, whenever this group goes down, Beautiful San Andrés is finished. But they called down on me a few years ago, so they wanted it to be the folkloric anthem of the island. So that's what they did while Arlington was there in the assembly. And that's what they did. They made it. And many folks who here, we presented it the first time we presented the dancing, they took us by groups. So our group was with the Caribbean group, with Barranquilla, Cartagena, and places like that. So they presented us in Barranquilla and in a town near Barranquilla named Puerto Colombia. Well, Puerto Colombia. There where the judges were for the first time to judge the dancing. And after they did that, then they took us the next night to Barranquilla itself in one of the stadiums. And we danced and sang it. So afterward, they told me that some people from the island who were there in the seeing the show said when they sang Beautiful San Andrés Day, it made them cry. I don't know why. It made them cry, Beautiful San Andrés. You see, it describes the island, what it is, and people. And so that's all. Well, but yes.
Yeah. Uh, about the language, right? You wanted so you were talking about how important the English language, is here and was back in the day. Um, how long has Spanish been spoken on this island?
Well, the Spanish, the training began in 1926.
Mm-hmm.
When, of course, you had people who lived in the island who spoke the language also. But as a training to study it, they brought in the Spanish priest and the Spanish the sister. So people began to learn and speak in Spanish. But after we have been, still they were invaded by a lot of Spanish people coming in. The children have forgotten English.
Mm-hmm.
And they speak, especially little children, they speak to you. And even local families are speaking to their little children in Spanish.
Yeah.
They won't speak to them in English anymore. It's not so convenient because I know when people leave here, they used to leave here and go to the United States to work. Right away, they were setting in a job. Right here in Cartagena, I experienced that when a lady from the Hill, she was in Cartagena working just in the kitchen in the Boca Grande there where the Americans were. And she was the mistress there. She went there and English, and that they set her in right away. And I remember I visited Cartagena, and person who I went along with, she invited her to go on Sunday to visit her in Boca Grande. And we went, and she was the mistress there, and the owners of the home were so satisfied with her. And that's how it is. They go over to Cologne to work on the canal zone, and they get jobs right away because of the English. And in those days, people used, as I tell you, the way they could read and write English. Because I want to show you the old books that we have left there that you can see. People have to learn and read and write in English. So that's how it is. We speak pure Spanish now because of the population is overgrown. And then we have the children. You can speak to them in English because they don't understand it. It's a pity. That's how it is.
I was going to ask one more question because we've got like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. And I want to phrase this question like, one, I want you to say, my name is so and so forth. San Andrés to me is, it's a beautiful island, it's my culture, it's who I am, that kind of thing. Can we do that?
How about that?
So I want you to kind of say, almost like an introduction again. So my name is San Andrés to me is my heart, it's my culture. I love the island. What is it for you is the most amazing thing in San Andrés. But I want you to say it from, my name is Miss so and so forth. San Andrés to me is.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to say it in English.
Say again?
You wanted me to say it in English.
In English, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my name is Cecilia Francis. I am known around as Miss Chicky. And San Andrés to me, well, it's still my beautiful home. Many times I look around and I see God has placed us in a very beautiful, beautiful place. Only it's slipping away from us, but it's a beautiful place. Even the people in San Andrés, the real San Andrés people, were very good people. You see, the missionaries, the Baptist mission,